Welcome. This is day number 3 for the energy and power module. Today you'll be looking at this motor and you'll be taking it apart and you'll be learning some of the principal parts of the motor. Now, there are a few parts that you're going to be taking apart today to expose other parts, but only a limited number of parts. You'll be only removing the pink bolts. So these bolts that have pink on the top of them you'll be removing, as well as a spark plug. You'll also be removing a bolt on the side over here, a bolt on the top of this blower shroud, and a bolt over here on the other side. So you'll be removing these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 bolts on the top, and the 3 bolts holding down the blower shroud. To remove the bolts, we'll be using these handheld socket wrenches which fit on top, and when turned lefty-loosey they will loosen the bolts. So at this point we want to remove all the bolts on the top. At this point we'll select the appropriate handheld sockets that we'll be using to remove the blower shroud and the bolts on the top. By simply placing this on top, we'll be removing the bolts which are heading down the cylinder head. The spark plug should be only finger tight. Please take the spark plug, set it aside for reassembly. Remove the bolts. Remove the cylinder head. And remove the blower shroud. These are the parts in the motor that you'll need to be able to identify. If you notice, if you turn the flywheel, it causes the valves to open and close, and it causes the piston to go up and down in the cylinder of the engine. Intake valve, piston, exhaust valve. So these are the parts you need to remember to learn. This is called the flywheel, right here. Flywheel, right there. Intake valve. That's called the intake valve. This is the exhaust valve, right here. That's the exhaust valve. This is the cylinder. Looks a bit like a cylinder. There's the piston. This is the piston right here. This is the air filter. Air filter in here. This is the gas tank, where the fuel goes, and the gas tank. This part component down here, lower this a little. This is the carburetor, right here, carburetor. And on the back side, this is the muffler. This is where the exhaust is blown. The muffler. This is the spark plug with the electrode here at the bottom. This is where you see a spark. This is called a spark plug. This is the cylinder head. These are cooling vents to maximize the surface area so the motor will cool. You'll see these a lot of times on motorcycles and on old Volkswagen engines. This is how the motor is cooled. This is the part where the spark plug would fit. Spark plug, cylinder head. This is called the blower shroud, where we have our starter. That's the blower shroud. This focuses the air, so when the fan, there's a fan here built into the flywheel, so as the flywheel is turning, it's blowing the cool air through the engine and cooling it off. So I hope this video helps you learn the parts. When you're ready for the quiz, you can call the instructor over, and the instructor will quiz you on the parts that we've gone over of the motor. Now is your job to reassemble the motor. Probably the best way, start by putting the spark plug back into the cylinder head. Set the cylinder head back onto the engine. Select the bolts for the engine reassembly. And just tighten them up. Now, we can return the lower shroud. And now the motor is secure, ready for the next group to disassemble. Thank you.
Oh, no.
Wow.
So it's the one that sinks it minus 1.
I didn't know how many dark balls I had. I thought I had to stay afloat. Oh my god.
What do you got? A little hat?
I didn't even make this. You built it with a hole in it.
Oh, right.
You do it. You make one next time.
Who's next?
Don't mess up.
Okay, I need everyone to clear out of the way if you've been tested, because other people are coming in.